one last quick question, Greg.
Sure, you
When
fire
someone
away.
is, yeah, so when someone's on the having a healing and then they've been snoring away, deep in their sleep, they come back, they said, oh, more than so they've been on the table sometimes for 90 minutes. Oh, that went really fast and I didn't fall asleep. Where did they go?
They fell asleep.
Oh, they fell asleep.
Yeah, they totally fell asleep.
Their brain is just going. Is that?
Their brain is going, and so that's the thing. Sometimes when you're dealing with somebody like here, we have a circle of people. Even if people are new, they're like used to kind of doing some of these processes and something. They're used to kind of the things that happen. But when you're dealing with like kind of more like the general public kind of person, they don't always like feel the shift right off the bat, and they don't always like know what's like happening. Like you can see it manifest in them, but they don't always put two and two together. And so the thing with that is, if it's somebody that you don't know or you're not sure about, and they really don't have a background about this, ask them lots of questions before you start doing the session on them, because it's almost like instead of informing them like this is going to happen and that's going to happen, you do it more with like questions, because it makes them, how like we're doing on the weekend where it's like check into your body and then check into the environment, then check in with your body and check in with the environment. You almost manually walk them through that, where you ask them a question, well, how does your left leg feel versus your right leg? They'll have to like think about it and go in, and they go, yeah, they feel the same. The answer doesn't matter, but you're manually making them check into their body. You know what I'm saying?
During the healing?
Before you even start the healing.
Oh, before. Okay.
Yeah. So like you just like 2 minutes, like two minutes, 5 minutes, where you go, okay, if they say I'm in pain, go, okay, well, what kind of pain is it? Is it, dull pain? Is it sharp pain? On a scale of 1 to 10, is it a 1? Is it a 10? Does it fluctuate? Is it always the same? You just ask them a bunch of questions where they have to start kind of monitoring it. And then at the end of the session, when you've produced a result, or at least the result is in process, you can go like, okay, how do you feel? And they'll go, well, there's still pain. And you go, okay, well, it was a 10. Why are you now? And they might go like a 4. So you're showing them the progress, because I think I told you, like one time I had this person and I was working on her, and, she had no background in any of this. And I think I didn't even do 1 to 10. I said, okay, on a scale of 1 to 100, where's your pain? And she was like, it's 95 or 100 or something. It was like just, full thing. And so it got done with a session. And when like sometimes you're not sure when a session goes well. And then there's times where, like the session rocked, like it produced a result. And it was one of those. And so I was asking her, like I'd watch her walk, I watched her body movement, I had her do ranges of motion, and I go, how's the pain? And she's like, nope, still there, still there, still there. And I was like, man, all like her breathing's different, her body movement's different, her look on her face is different, she looks more relaxed. And I'll go, okay, so you were a 95 before, where are you at now? And she's like, a 2. Like, so you went from 95 to 2, but the pain's still there. And she goes, yeah, it hasn't gone away. You know what I mean? So your definition of what's happening doesn't always match their definition. And so the best way to do that is to ask them questions. Ask them questions before, and then you go back and you ask kind of similar questions about the condition, because you're helping them to become more aware of how their body is shifting and changing, which then makes them a little bit more attuned to what's happening in the session, but also it makes them more attuned of what's happening once they leave. Like, because it might be the way they're sitting at their computer is causing some of this, or the way they're driving, or the way they sleep. And the more they kind of connect with their body, the more they can go like, oh, yeah, what I do right here, this totally contributes to that. You know what I mean? Where they will start adjusting and adapting and trying to reduce the habits or whatever actions contribute to it, they'll like start to realize it and then start to break some of those patterns. And so it's always kind of good to like start with a few questions, especially if you don't know them. Start with a few questions and just, plus you know what you're dealing with. Like you can kind of tell like how they answer, not the answers themselves, but like how they answer.
Mhm.
And then when you go afterwards, you go, okay, how's your breathing? How do you feel? Do you feel relaxed? Do you do you have more flexibility? Do you just start asking those questions, and it helps it sink into their body that, because you are kind of wrestling with a little bit of a thought form of they've defined it, and not only have they defined it, sometimes they've identified with it. And when you start moving away from it, they'll go, no, this is where I'm at. And you're wanting to educate them that, no, we're starting to move away from this. We're starting to move away from this condition. We're starting to shift and change out of this. And you kind of make them more of a participant. If you just give them a bunch of information, they won't have that awareness. So a series of questions is always good because it makes them check in with their body and then they answer. And then they check in with their body and then they answer. And so you're literally kind of doing body awareness, external situation, body awareness, external situation, but you're just manually doing it with the questions.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Greg.
Yeah, you're so welcome.